had some kind of strange, interesting call about somebody having had their throat slit.
Okay.
So what's going on here?
No, that's
a dog, is it?
my dog's, yeah.
You're under arrest on suspicion of murder. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence.
Good morning everyone, how you doing? It's Paul here from Unusual Things. Now this morning I am bringing you my story from Waterlooville Cemetery in Hampshire. And this is one of a true crime story, so it's one for the crime files. And it's a story of a young couple that had a very volatile relationship and ultimately ended up in the death of a young father. It's quite graphic, so if that's not your sort of thing, make sure that you don't watch, of course. However, if you do like the video today, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free and does not cost you a single penny. And also just to make you aware that we do have lots of true crime videos on the channel. So make sure you go back and check out the playlist. Right, we'll get on with it. And then I'm going to take you to Botley Drive in Waterlooville, where the scene of this horrendous murder took place back in 2022. Now it starts off on July the 17th, 2022. Police were called to a house in Havant, Hampshire, and inside the bedroom of 27-year-old Shaye Groves, officers discovered the body of her boyfriend, Frankie Fitzgerald, brutally stabbed more than 20 times. Frankie was a 25-year-old father of two who had died only hours earlier. What followed shocked even experienced detectives. An obsessive fascination with serial killers, a toxic relationship, jealousy, revenge, and a chilling attempt to cover up a murder. This is the true story of the killing of Frankie Fitzgerald and the dark, spiralling world of Shaye Groves. Frankie Fitzgerald was a 25-year-old, originally from Portsmouth, and a devoted father of two young children. He worked hard and had a close relationship with his family, and was widely described as easygoing, friendly, and loving. He and Shaye Groves began a relationship sometime in 2021. Friends later described it as passionate but volatile, the type of relationship that could be intense one moment and explosive the next. Their jealousy and on and off arguments worried those close to them, but no one imagined it would end in murder. Shaye Groves lived in a terraced house in Botley Drive in Havant. She had a young daughter and a reputation for partying, a well-documented obsession with true crime and serial killers. When police searched her room, they found posters of Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and Richard Ramirez, all of them put across the bedroom wall. She had a display cabinet containing knives and blades, a decorative Ripper-style weapon, photos and videos of herself posing with knives. She also recorded arguments of herself and her interactions with Frankie. Friends described her as jealous, controlling, and unstable, especially when she was drinking. Still, the relationship continued even as the arguments grew more frequent. In the weeks before the murder, the relationship between Frankie and Shaye deteriorated sharply. At the centre of their issues was jealousy. Shaye regularly checked Frankie's phone, often accusing him of cheating. She reacted angrily when she found messages she didn't like, and the tension between them increased. Just going off subject a little bit here, guys, there's Helen Gorrie. We've been to see her before. There's a true crime story of her on the channel, and bless, it looks like she's got some lovely fresh flowers as well. Bless you, Helen. Oh, it's lovely to see. Okay, getting back to it. On the night of July the 16th, 2022, the pair spent the evening drinking together. They were both intoxicated and the atmosphere between them was stained, fueled earlier by the discovery of messages between Frankie and another woman. As the night went on, they were arguing in the kitchen and they both went upstairs to bed. In the early hours of July the 17th, while Frankie was laying in bed, Shaye Groves launched a brutal knife attack. Using a large knife from her collection, she stabbed Frankie over 20 times, to the neck, to the chest, and to the heart. The fatal injury was a deep cut to the jugular vein. Pathologists confirmed many of the wounds were inflicted while Frankie lay on his back, indicating he had no little or opportunity to defend himself. There were no defensive wounds on Shaye, contradicting her later claims of self-defense. One of the most disturbing details revealed in court was that Shaye recorded video footage of Frankie's body shortly after the killing. She sent clips and messages to a friend in a disturbingly composed manner. After killing Frankie, Shaye did not call emergency services. Instead, she attempted to cover up what she had done. She cleaned parts of the room, changed bedding, sent messages to her friends talking about the situation, looked up information related to crime scenes. Now, she was already a serial crime watcher. She constantly watched true crime programs and had an obsession, obviously, with serial killers like we mentioned earlier on. Now, later that morning, Shaye confessed to a close friend. Deeply alarmed, the friend immediately contacted Hampshire police, and officers were sent to the property shortly after. They discovered Frankie's body still in Shaye's bedroom, lying on the bedroom floor under a duvet. Shaye was arrested at the scene.
Don't close the door. What's going on?
With what?
You Shaye?
I am Shaye.
Right. I had some kind of strange, interesting call about somebody having had their throat slit.
Okay.
So what's going on here?
No, that's
a dog, is it?
my dogs, yeah.
Hello. You're under arrest on suspicion of murder. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. The necessity for your arrest is for a prompt and effective investigation. Okay.
Shaye Groves stood trial at Winchester Crown Court in January 2023, charged with murder. Prosecutors argued that she acted out of jealousy and anger, carrying out a deliberate and sustained attack. Key evidence included her obsession with serial killers, her collection of knives, the severity and the number of the stab wounds, the recording she made after the murder, her attempts at cleaning up the crime scene. The defence argued she acted in self-defence and portrayed the relationship as mutually toxic, but the jury found no evidence to support her claims. There were no injuries to suggest Frankie attacked her, and the forensic evidence demonstrated a one-sided assault. On February the 1st, 2023, the jury found her guilty of murder. She was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 23 years. Frankie Fitzgerald left behind two young children who will grow up without their father. His family described him as loving, funny, and deeply committed to his children and loved ones. The case raised difficult questions surrounding jealousy, controlling behaviour, and the dark influence of violent interests when mixed with alcohol and instability. Havant was shaken by the brutality of the murder, and the trial exposed a relationship filled with volatility, mistrust, and escalating tension. Frankie's story serves as a tragic reminder of how dangerous toxic relationships can become when warning signs are ignored or misunderstood, and how quickly lives can be destroyed by violence. That's a very, very sad story indeed. And it just goes to show that, you know, no matter what situation you're in, any sort of domestic situation, whether you're the man, the woman, it doesn't matter. If you're in a volatile domestic situation, you must try and get help, you must try and report it, and you must try and leave, obviously, the most safe and effective way you can. There are people out there that will help you, and I will put some links down in the description there if you are in that situation, of course. Now, Frankie obviously left behind two young children, and they now grow up without a father, and it's just sad, really. So many lives ruined by a toxic relationship when one or both of them could have walked away. Shaye obviously needed a lot of help and still does, and let's hope that that's dealt with inside. Frankie, however, and his family, they don't get any second chances, no opportunities to carry on and move forward. Okay, we are now in Botley Drive in Lee Park, and we're going to walk past and show you the house where Frankie sadly lost his life, and Shaye was subsequently arrested by the police. Now, what I will say, of course, is when we was at the cemetery, there is no headstone or plaque or anything like that for Frankie, because I believe he was cremated and that his sister has his ashes. That's from the research that I found out so far anyway. So if I'm incorrect on that and you want to let me know, put it down in the comments. But from what I can find out, that's what it seems to be at the moment. So we can't pay our respects and obviously lay some flowers for Frankie. But at least I wanted to give you that information so that you're aware of that as well. Anyway, thank you as always for watching. Please, if you haven't done so already, leave your comments down below. Do you remember this case? Is it something that you were aware of at the time? And of course, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free, does not cost you a single penny. And of course, we will continue to bring more true crime and crime files stories to you when I can. In the meantime, thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. Take it easy.
Detective Chief Inspector with Hampshire and Isle of Wight Police, and I'm here to read a brief statement after sentencing today. Shaye Groves was responsible for the shocking and sustained attack which tragically resulted in Frankie's death. We are pleased with the jury's verdict, and the sentence will ensure that Groves spends a significant period of time in prison for what she has done. Nothing can fill the void that has been left in the lives of those who knew Frankie, and our thoughts remain with his family, friends and loved ones. I would like to praise their courage and hope that this sentence will in some way deliver the justice they deserve.